Hey guys, welcome back to our real life scenario.
Amen.
There we go.
Hallelujah.
Shout out to all our real lovers out there.
Hey, you guys.
Welcome back to the show. If you're new, hello. Make sure you write a review.
And subscribe, stay a while. It's fun here. It's
is
great
very
here.
fun.
It's like edutainment.
Edutainment.
Yes.
Need to add that to the dictionary.
Edutainment. This is educational, but we're also going to entertain you. So welcome. We're happy that you're here.
Welcome to the crew.
How are you, Dre?
I'm doing well. Doing well. I like when I figure out things in my life.
Okay.
So I realized recently that the older that I get, the more easy, efficient that I want life to be. Like all the extra stuff, I'm done with it, right? Like I know now what I want, and I want things to be just easy. Yeah. And I realized that for all of my like casual clothes and things that like when I'm not dressing up or doing anything, like just chill sweats, like I really love, and this might not be a shock to people because people know this brand very, very well. And this is not a promo, but I really love Nike stuff. Okay. Because Nike
I do too.
Is very quality and it's very good and it lasts even if you throw it in a dryer wash machine. So now I'm like, I'm just want to like get like, and I'm one of those people too, if you get something that you like, you buy a few of them.
And so many colors. Really, have you bought like the same exact thing?
Yes.
Oh yeah, me too.
Like even these, like I bought these sweats the other day and I tried them on in the store, had on jeans, tried them on the store. I was like, yeah, I'm not taking these off. These feel good. And I'm like, yo, I want to get like 2 or 3 more pairs. So when these joints dirty, I still got another pair I can rock. Like if I'm running to the grocery store, like doing stuff like that. So I've now realized in my life that I just want to, for my lounge stuff, just wear Nike stuff. And it may be a little bit more pricey than certain things, but it's a good investment into like what I actually want. And as you get older, comfort is the most important.
You preach it to the choir. As someone who is 10 years older than you, I concur.
I guess this is that time, that 30s, when it start to turn and you like,
yeah. Like I love style, I love dressing and all of that. But on the day to day, the more comfortable, I just love quality lounging wear, athleisure, whatever you call it. I enjoy it very much. And Nike is, Nike call us because clearly we support the brand. I
don't even need a lot off. I don't need nothing free. I mean, even if you gave me 15, 25% off some stuff, that'd do a lot for me.
Yes, for sure. I had the pleasure of working with them earlier this year with Nordstrom, and great brand and quality. And I tell you, feels good. Feels very good.
Feels good. Yeah. How are you doing?
I'm good. Keeping my energy high. I'm happy about summer. Got stuff coming up. We have stuff coming up.
We do.
Yes. So keep your eyes peeled for our pages because we'll be posting stuff there on social media. But yeah, I'm great. Yeah. Happy to be here with you.
For sure. Yes. Thank you. I want to do a shout out to that. We're going to be at Wine Slow Jazz Festival in Maryland. On July 8th. So make sure you check that out. Look at our pages for that. And then we have a really dope live event that we're going to have coming up. Just make sure you look at our pages. We're trying to confirm the date, but it's going to be
lock some things in. But for the DMV, you've been wanting live moments. We're giving them to you.
Yes,
we're giving them to you.
Yes,
so pull up on this.
So speaking of our real lovers pulling up on us, I want to read a review from C. Jones. Thank you, C, for giving me the way to pronounce the name at the end of the message.
Very nice.
Because you see, like,
very nice.
Right? I would not. Yes, I may not have got that.
And if you asked me that, I would have made that very fancy.
So the title is a 5-star review, says much needed podcast. I'm so glad I came across this podcast. I listen to you all during my 12-hour shifts, and I really appreciate the advice that's given in this show. Ooh, 12 hours. You think she's a nurse?
Probably.
Yeah, that's a long shift.
Or hell, you could be anything. I've had security people that work 12-hour shifts.
Got you.
Yeah.
Got you. You could tell it's real and y'all aren't just talking for views, listens, and that's so rare nowadays, and it's a greatly appreciated. I pray this podcast is around for a very long time. Keep up the great job! ! Thank you, C.
Thank you. I pray so too. We will accept that from your lips to God's ears.
Please.
Yes.
Lord, you hear us. Father, can you hear me?
Keep it around for a long time. Bring all the saints on in here, Lord.
Yes, please. Thank you, C, so much. We appreciate the love. Writing a review, because that means a lot to us and a lot to our show. Yes. And as you know, like I told y'all a few episodes ago, we ranked in the top 200, on the top charts and Apple. So like, it's all because of y'all. So I appreciate that.
Yes. I love that. Thanks, C.
Yeah. So we're going to hop into a real life love scenario. This is not anything super particular.
Yes.
But just something that we observe in real life.
Yes. We see it all the time. We're sure you do too.
Yes. So it came off of when I saw an Instagram reel of a couple doing pranks. And I'm just like, all right, I know that there are a lot of people out here that make content for, Instagram or social media, just in general, or digital content. And it had me starting to think, like, how would that go over in my house? And I'm like, all these reactions can't always be funny. They can't always be, ha ha ha, babe, like, oh, that was great, like, ha ha. Like, some of these joints probably end up in serious, like, arguments, debates, and things like that. And then that made me and Rhonda want to have a larger conversation about just creating content as a couple.
Yeah.
And what, should you do it? Should you not do it? Like, what's good about it? What's not good about it? What about you? When you get that man, when the Lord sends him to you, send him your way.
Come on, Lord.
Send him her way, Lord.
Please, Lord. In the name of Jesus.
In the name of Jesus.
Look, Dre, put the organs right here. Heavenly Father, please, in the name of Jesus.
We come to you today, humbly as we know how.
As we know how.
Asking for
a man, God. A man after your own heart, Lord Jesus. Send him now. A man that's strong, got a strong back, a strong mind, and a strong heart. I need him to love me. Take this trash out. Okay.
And walk the dogs.
Thank you, Lord. Amen. Thank y'all. Amen. Okay. Now back to your question.
When you get that man.
Yes.
Are y'all going to be TikToking,
Probably not.
No.
Here's the
creating
thing.
Content?
Yeah, probably not. If we do, it will just be because we wanted to. Like, we just wanted to have some fun, and we just felt inspired in the moment to do it. But I would not have a desire to make my relationship like a brand where it then becomes something that people depend on. Like, people are then looking for us to keep doing that. I don't necessarily want to put that type of pressure on my relationship, because one, as a person that's not even in a relationship, but I am technically a content creator because I'm in the space, and we have a creative, brand with Relationship Restored and Real Love Scenario and all of that. So you have to be in the space. It's hard for me to do it just by myself. Yeah. It's hard for me to put together reels sometimes and remember to post about certain things or promote certain things. And so to make that a chore in my relationship, I just wouldn't want the pressure of doing that. Like I said, if we feel inspired by it, then cool. I also know, as a content creator, there are a lot of logistics that go into the things that we just simply scroll and see. Yep. And I enjoy relationship content, if I'm being honest. Like, I enjoy seeing couples do fun stuff. I get a kick out of some of the pranks. They're very funny, or sometimes not maybe funny to them, but they're funny for me to watch. But I know how much work it took to put that together, from moving the camera around to then the editing or reshooting something. Like, okay, when you walked in to make it look like you was just coming in the kitchen to help me cook, you weren't in frame. Go back and do that again. It's production, it's a lot. And I'm not trying to do that with my relationship. It's hard enough for me to do it by myself.
Got you.
Yes. What about you?
Well, I can speak from experience.
Yes.
Because my wife and I did create our YouTube years ago with relationship content. And I'll say this. I tell people this just in general when they are trying to figure out what they want to do with their life. is that just because you love something doesn't mean that you will love doing it. So just because you love food doesn't mean you would enjoy being a chef.
Yes.
Just because you love music doesn't mean that you enjoy being a music producer. Just because you love going to lavish events doesn't mean you would like to be an event planner. Just because you love something doesn't always mean that you would love doing it, because there are elements that come with doing that you may not love at all.
That's right.
So I say that to say is that sometimes when you're with your person, just because you love your person doesn't mean that you would love creating relationship content. And that's not a knock on you or your person's relationship. It's that it's a lot of other things that Rhonda just described that comes with having to create that content, which you may not love to do.
No.
And that's one thing that Brie and I, people always ask, like, oh, what happened to your show? Stuff like that, is that Brie and I love each other very much. And I think that everything happens for a reason, for its season. And I think that when we started our channel, we were waiting for marriage, and we gave a lot of people inspiration and hope and encouragement for the relationships that they were trying to build. But we started to realize that although we loved each other, all the parts of shooting and recording and stuff, like, we didn't love doing that stuff together, and it just wasn't great for our relationship, and it just wasn't, it didn't make sense for us at that moment, or in the current moment now. So we had to make that decision, and then come to realize too that it doesn't mean we love each other any less, or that we don't want to do these things with each other, not on camera. Like, this is our relationship. We have fun, we do stuff, and you know, sometimes we come to the realization that it may just be a different medium in which we may allow people to consume or see our lives. It may not be in a podcast form or the YouTube form anymore. It may be in something different, or a different opportunity. But I stick with that. With what I say is that just because you love something doesn't mean that you'll love doing it. And it's not a reflection of if you guys love each other or don't love each other or anything like that. It's just like, it's hard. Like, staying consistent with content is one of the most challenging things, because you're going to be doing a lot and seeing no return in the beginning, because especially if you're starting with new content for the most part, like, you're introducing this new thing to a new audience. So it's going to take time for it to gain traction and for people to be okay with it. And then you'll get that one moment of like, oh, wow, it kind of popped off, and then it'll inspire you to do more. But you really got to like doing that stuff.
You have to, that's exactly what I was saying. You have to really like doing it. If you both truly enjoy it, like this is some way that you all bond, and then like you legitimately enjoy it, then great. Like I said, there's so many people who I admire, like what they showcase. I think it's beautiful. I think some of it helps to serve as inspiration, just like you said with you and Brie. It was like, I'm thankful for some people seemingly really enjoying doing this because it is an inspiration. But for me personally, like I love this idea, and you know, then we'll move on. I love this idea of my man washing my hair, right? Like I look forward to that. It's happened before, and I just think it's something so intimate and like beautiful. I love it. So when I see these videos sometimes on Instagram, I'm like, oh, that's just beautiful. But I can't fathom setting up the camera inside of the shower in order to film my man washing my hair. I can't fathom that. Hold on, we about to take a shower. You about to help me wash my hair. But 1 second, let me get the tripod. Let me put the camera. I can't fathom doing all of that. That's just too much for me. So it would be a chore for me, for sure. But if it's not a chore for you, then great. Thanks for the inspiration. And
not even for you, for your partner. Like, getting two people that enjoy doing that is a whole nother level, because that can put a strain on your relationship.
Yes.
And understand that, like, if you choose to go down that route and that's what you want to do, understand that it's possible that you may gain notoriety. And if you do, you will probably have to continue to still do that content if you want to continue on the path that you're doing. So make sure that you like it, because you don't want to sit there and be doing this content and you feel like you're doing it just to satisfy other people or just for a sponsored deal or something like that, but you really like dislike doing it because it's going to impact your relationship. Like, one thing is doing something on your own, but when you have two people involved and like say one person's like, I really don't feel like doing this, and you're like, whoa, they paid X amount of dollars,
we got a deal on the table,
or people keep DMing me asking where we at, and it's like, but then it's gonna show up, like, especially like with YouTube, if you're doing stuff like that, you'll see somebody's energy or attitude, like you could tell that person don't want to be there.
And now people are thinking something's wrong with your relationship.
Exactly.
That y'all are beefing or arguing and you not. They just aren't interested in doing this anymore. Or you are beefing and arguing about doing this.
Very true.
Yeah. So as long as y'all love it, great. But it's not for me.
Yeah.
It's not for me.
Brie and I had our season, and I wholeheartedly feel like we're going to show up in other ways, but we had to make an adjustment, and we're happy with that and fine with that. So
Awesome. Well, let's get into our real love scenario.
Let's get it.
We're hearing from another anonymous. You know, we might have to start giving y'all names. We might have to start giving y'all names because really almost everybody wants to be anonymous.
Right.
All right. Well, it says, hello, Rhonda and Dre. I want to say I love listening to the podcast. So my boyfriend and I have been together for 3 years. I'm 31 and he's 27 and we have a child together. He asked me to marry him, but I turned it down because I felt as if he wasn't ready for that step in his life. And I didn't want to put myself in a situation to get hurt. I recently found out he cheated on me while we were having some issues in our relationship. And to make it worse, he may have gotten the woman pregnant. He has taken a DNA test for the baby, but the results haven't come back yet. I just want some advice on what to do because while I really do love him, I don't know how to feel about him having a child with someone else. Well, Anonymous, thank you. Thank you for writing in.
Thank you for writing in.
Whew.
Some people don't believe in condoms, though, do they? It's just like you having issues with your current joint and you just shoot up the club of
another one. Just a
like, come on, brother.
Well, you know, one thing I will say about that, sometimes people cheat with familiar people.
That's very true.
So that's why they feel like this was my old thing or this was my ex who I did it. And truth be told, that's just not smart. We talked about this before. Protection is necessary no matter what, because you just don't know. People don't look like diseases. People not walking around looking like they have something, or worse, they could get pregnant. You know, that's always a possibility when you're having sex. Even when you're having protected sex, people can get pregnant. So, where should we begin? Well,
I guess we could start kind of at the beginning part. First, so they started dating when she was, I guess, 28 and he was 24.
Yes.
It's very unusual that I see that from the opposite way, to where the woman is dating somebody much younger. So that's a very interesting dynamic. But he asked her to marry him, and she said no.
Yeah.
Do you think turning down a proposal should end the relationship, or does that mean the relationship is done? Especially they 3 years in, like, you don't know yet. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I don't. Well, here's the problem. We don't know the timeline, right? I don't know when he asked for her hand in marriage. I don't know if it was recent or if it was after a year of being together or 2 years. I don't know the timeline.
Got you.
But I do think what is most interesting about it is that she said she turned it down because she didn't want to put herself in a situation to get hurt. Like, yes, also that she didn't think he was ready for that important step, which I understand. But you're already in a relationship with him. What could accepting a proposal mean? Like, how is that putting yourself in a situation to get hurt? There's just like some sort of underlying tone there that I feel like the relationship is not where it needs to be, even to just be in a relationship. So I think in their situation, perhaps the fact that she didn't think they were ready to just be engaged, I think maybe the relationship is on the rocks in a more significant way, I will say. And so maybe it does mean that the relationship should end. But if it doesn't, I think at a minimum, it means that some things really need to be evaluated. Because let's say he did that after a year in. Some people propose after a year and feel like that's a good amount of time because you are potentially going to be engaged for another year or so. So I don't know. I think it's worth exploring as to why she wasn't comfortable just accepting the ring. Maybe it was that because they're only 4 years apart. But I don't know. Maybe it is because he's younger. Maybe he wasn't as mature as she wanted him to be, or as financially secure as maybe she wanted him to be. I don't know. But I wish I had more color in this story as to why she said no. what that means about this whole put myself in a situation.
Yeah.
But what do you think?
Oh man, just in the point of just turning down a proposal for a relationship. I've seen people turn down proposals for many different reasons. One reason is that they didn't like how the person asked. They feel like it was just like, nah, you need to do this again and do it the right way. And people have different expectations. So it's important if you propose to somebody to understand who your person is, and if you want to do something nice, like cater that to who your person is. Like, understand what they want. Because that's a special moment for you guys as a couple, but a lot of times for your wife, it's a little bit more special, and she's receiving a ring, and it's like a special day, something that she'll always remember. Even my wife says like she felt the most change when we got engaged versus when we actually got married. So it's like, just make sure you take that into account. But this is a tough one for me because I feel like if you are in a situation with somebody and maybe somebody proposes too prematurely and that's why you turn it down, like you still have the hope of maybe that can be a thing, but they ask prematurely. Yeah. But I feel like as a man, or maybe if a woman, if you propose, like, I don't understand how you could propose and not know the answer. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
Like, I'm not proposing if I'm not sure that this person really wants to marry me. And these conversations, like my wife and I had these conversations all the time. She was trying to send out wedding invitations before we got engaged. And I was like, Bree, you can't do that, but we want to do destination. We want to make sure people listen,
we're not engaged
yet. And trust me, I got you. Like, I got it. Like, slow your roll though. Like, this look a little weird. Like, somebody get a wedding invitation, like, hold on, did I miss the engagement? Like, what happened? So it's like, I don't understand how people propose sometimes and don't know what the answer is going to be. So these should be conversations that you guys are having a lot,
so that you know.
And I question, in this situation, what have you guys' conversations been? That he felt comfortable enough to do that. Like, what were you guys talking about when it talks about future and things that you ultimately want to do? Like, why did he propose? Did you give him any indication that that was something that you wanted at this moment? And if you did not have conversations about that, and if you said you weren't ready for that, then that strikes me as some type of manipulation tool that he's using to try to, like, almost like a love bomb type, like, I'm just going to, like,
it's like smoke and mirrors.
Yeah, like smoke and mirrors. Yes. Like things are rough, but you know, how do I recover, let's say, from this cheating thing? I'm just going to be like, hey, baby, like, I want to marry you.
Let's get married.
I don't care nothing about her. Like, even if the baby is whatever, like, I want to be with you. And that's all smoke and mirrors. And maybe you read through that, and that's why you said, like, nah, like, I don't want to be in that relationship. But regardless, if somebody proposed to you that you've been with for 3 years and you're saying, I don't want to accept this proposal, there's a lot with that relationship that needs to be evaluated.
Yes.
And I understand that having a child makes now this, like, this person's going to be around. So they're going to always be present at some point. And maybe that's part of you trying to still make it work over this, 3-year period. But like I said, if you've been with somebody for 3 years and you can't say yes to a proposal if they propose to you, then there's probably something deeper that you need to evaluate with that relationship.
I agree with you for sure. Even the part about the fact that, he cheated, that she recently found out about it, but something was going on with him or with the relationship where he felt like that was something he wanted to do. Again, it just feels like there's been a lot going on. And to your point about kids, like, having a child it's almost like it expedites the relationship sometimes. Like, if you are boyfriend and girlfriend and you're enjoying your relationship as is, but then you have a baby, I feel like babies bring about so much responsibility and so much purpose where you're like, okay, like, now you're really starting to think about life. Like, how do I do this better, do this greater? Like, are we in the right position? Do we need to get married so to make it more official? Like, it's having a child, to me, is, call me crazy, but I actually feel like it's way more significant of a commitment than marriage. I do. Like, yes, a marriage is a partnership and it's a union that you have before God, but it can be dissolved. Once you have a kid, well, you can't, it's here. You know what I mean? Like, you can't walk that back. Once you have a child with someone, you are, and again, in a healthy dynamic, you are forever bonded to that person. Even if y'all don't end up being together, you're forever bonded because you share a child, where somebody could be married to today and divorced tomorrow. That relationship could almost not have happened for all intents and purposes. But a kid, you can't just erase that. You can't just make that go away. So I would be approaching parenthood with way more thoughtfulness than marriage. And I'm going to be approaching both with a great deal of thought, with a great deal of thoughtfulness. But having a baby is like so significant. It's so significant. So the fact that, and I'm not saying this to judge Anonymous, but the fact that some people very casually have children, but when it comes to marriage, it's like, I got to think about that. I really got to be like, I don't know about that. It's like, really?
Yeah.
You had a whole human being.
Well, I would say sometimes having the kid wasn't a choice, but marriage is an actual choice that they can have. So it's like,
yeah,
you know.
But having a baby is kind of sort of a choice. They kind of sort of, because I said this the other day on my story. Yes, the women carry the babies, right? The babies are in our bodies. So it's ultimately our choice to bring life to the child if we get pregnant. But we cannot get pregnant without your sperm. Very Biology says that I can't just get pregnant on my own. You know, I think the only person that's ever happened with was Mary in the Bible. I think that was the only woman who just got pregnant without having sex, okay? Yeah. But all the rest of us, we need sperm in order to fertilize an egg. So you made a choice to have sex most of the time unprotected, and you shot the club up.
Yeah, but that may not have been her choice either. But, you know.
Exactly. So it's like, these are some choices.
You Russian rouletting it. That's the issue. Right.
That's a perfect way to put it. You Russian rouletting something, and you shouldn't be Russian roulette and having babies, okay? Like, that's not the thing to approach that cavalierly. Like,
thing to roll in and be like, ooh, good that time. Oh man, all right.
Oh, I see it. I got out of there safe. You know, like, no. So, you know, I don't know. I definitely think, though, having babies within a relationship puts a greater amount of pressure on the relationship, where you can handle it a lot more cavalier if it's just the two of you. Just like living together, it puts more pressure on the relationship. These are all commitments. They're like partnerships of sort, like getting a place together, buying a house together. Like, you signed a contract that you're going to be in this house with this person for the length of that contract. That's a big commitment. People sometimes do that, but they don't get married. They're like, I'll buy a house with you, but, you know, getting a marriage license and doing all that's a lot. It's like, okay, we just approach a lot of serious things in our lives sometimes with just this very cavalier attitude. So IDK, but I want to get obviously into the meat of this.
Yes.
Which is the fact that he may have a baby on the way.
Well, this is the thing. What they used to say in church, some people got the patience of Job. Because Lord knows, not only did you cheat, not only did you cheat, you doubled down on the cheating.
Yes.
And possibly got another person pregnant. Good Lord.
But whip camera.
Like, how, like, I don't got, like, what?
Like, what?
I wouldn't be still, should I? I'm thinking about, do I? No, this person, lucky they still, we don't promote any
violence.
But listen.
Okay.
Just be happy you in all your facilities and you
everything is still
together. Like, come on, what?
Yeah, baby. Yeah. Listen, y'all hear me talk on this podcast. If you are a regular listener, you are a real lover. I am very diplomatic most of the time.
But Rhonda throw hands.
Okay, I do throw hands, but that ain't even what I was gonna say. I'm very diplomatic. I can often see both sides of the coin. I can often understand lots of things.
Yes.
But if there is nothing that it's just a hard no for me, cheating and having a baby is a hard no for me. I don't have it in me to stay with you. I do not.
Have you experienced that?
No, I have not. God, listen, God be knowing. It's literally
what they say, the Lord don't give you nothing you can't handle.
I'm trying to tell you, it is two things that I have very specifically asked for sure to not experience in relationships. That is one of them, and domestic violence, like being abused, physically abused. I don't want to be abused in any form or fashion, but I have very specifically been like, Lord, whoever please don't let him bring no babies back, and please don't let him raise his hands up to me, because I am not going to recover from those two things. Like, it's no forgiveness. I do not have it in me. I am not going to understand. I have no desire to work through it with you. It's no therapy for me in this world that will allow me to look at you and said baby and be like, well, I love you that much. I don't. I might very well love you a lot, but I'm not mature enough, spiritual enough, understanding enough, whatever the words are, to forgive you after that. I can't do it. Can't, because it would take so much work that I'm just not interested in. And maybe my mind could change one day. Maybe if I got married and I was with this man we were married for 10, 15, 20 years and that happened, maybe we'll have to cross that bridge when we get there. But that's just a little too heavy for me to bring a baby back and expect me to be able to work through that with you. I believe that I would resent you and dislike you and not be mature enough to receive that innocent child in the way that I should. I can't do it. So
that's why we said don't be Russian roulette. And there's too many variables that you cannot control. That's what people have to, like, so many people don't think about consequences of their action, or they think of just what they think might happen and not all of the possible scenarios that could happen in a situation. He probably was like, yo, shawty getting on my nerves. I'm about to go to this little joint. I'm about to do my thing. And, I'm on bounce. And then, like, it kind of remind me, like, those situations when you do that kind of remind me of, like, a mini version of, like, when the feds indict somebody, right? Like they say the winds of government, they slow, but they come heavy or something like that. I think that's a saying or something. It's like when people get indicted by the federal, like, by the feds, it's like you may have did something in 2018 and they come back in like 2020 because you forgot about it. You may have stopped doing it and all that, but they was just investigating, building the case and all that stuff. And then it like comes and hits you and you like, oh shoot. Wow. And then it's you versus the United States of America, which you ain't gonna win that.
You probably not gonna win that.
But it reminds me of a mini version of that when it comes to kids, because it's like you do the thing, you do your do, and you just go about life thinking like you got away with it, everything cool,
everything sweet.
Then like a few months later, you might get that call like, you like, I don't even remember her. I didn't even save her number.
When did I sleep with you? What?
Now you start doing the math like, okay,
Yep. Damn, mate.
What time was? Oh, God, maybe the timelines kind of do work out because you done forgot about it. You done moved. Maybe you and a girl, you and anonymous are back and y'all good. And y'all straight. Like it hits you like later, and it's like,
damn.
That's why you can't be playing Russian roulette out here.
You cannot. And I take that back when you said, have I ever dealt with it? Because it just popped in my head that I have dealt with it.
I feel like you told me a situation.
Yes, but the reason that I said no is because when I found out about it, we weren't together anymore.
Got you.
Yes, like we were broken up when I found out that
it was like a neighbor or something.
It was our neighbor.
Tell the story.
Yeah. So my ex was he was cheating. And he was cheating with one particular person, like there were hints of it while we were still together. And it was a coworker, so he was kind of able to be like, nah, it's nothing. Yeah. She just cool. I had found a receipt. Like he had went shopping at like one of his favorite clothing stores. And I was like, you save bags. So I was like putting the bag in and then cleaning the bag out, and it had a receipt in it. I took the receipt out. I looked at the receipt, and at the bottom of this particular store, it has the purchaser's name. If they use the card, it has their name on the receipt. And I saw her name, and I was like, why would she be buying you clothes? Like that's deeper than a coworker. That's very personal. And he was like, oh no, like I helped her out at the job, blah, blah, blah.
Dang, brother, you should have went with I lost my wallet and I just, dang.
See, y'all heard
Y'all
him, right? Y'all, so you heard Drake come right in and give him a better lie to tell me, okay?
I'm just saying, like,
that would have been a better lie.
That would have been a way better.
That would have been a better lie. Yeah, but he made it seem like it was she bought him something to say thank you for looking out for her at the job or whatever. So I was like, okay, cool. But that was when it put it first in my mind that something is up. We decided to stay together, but we moved out of our apartment because we were having issues with finances.
Yeah.
And we were like, okay, let's live separately and still try to be together, but remove that piece of it so we're not fighting about bills and all these other things. So I move into my own place. He moves into his mother's place, allegedly. And one day while we were hanging out, my phone is like blowing up. Like, you know, just from a wild number telling me all this stuff. Oh yeah, your man is cheating on you and me. Blah, da, 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 da. Her name is the name from the receipt from a couple months ago, right? So I'm like, okay, cool. This is when Rhonda had hands, and them hands got real active.
Got loose.
And I ain't saying it was right because I should not put my hands on anybody, but that was many years ago, and I'm a better woman today.
She was asking for it.
Yeah, well, no, he got the hands.
Oh,
me and him were together, and I turned to him because this was all on my phone. Yeah. She was texting me. I turned to him. I was like, "So you said that this was just your coworker and y'all was just friends. So tell me the truth. Like, I feel like it's more to it, and I just want you to be honest with me. I want you to tell me the truth."
You hit him with that. You set him up with.
And he was like, "You know, he played stupid. You know, he did the what you talking about?" And literally in like, what, Dre? I mean, and I mean hands, not that girly like, nah, hands closed up together, swinging on him. He's like, "What are you doing? I'm like, "Get the out of my house, you lie." I mean, it was terrible, right? So we go through all these changes. He gets out, and the girl now is obsessed with telling me all of these things, right? I received the messages. I said, okay, cool. I'm not the woman that want to do the Barbara Shirley thing. Hey girl, so what he did, where was it, how many times?
What's the saying? They say, as a woman, I'm just coming to you as a woman.
I don't want you to come to me as a woman. If I'm being completely, don't come to me as a woman.
Just coming to you as a woman to let you know that.
She was coming to me as 8 women because she would not leave me alone. I wound up blocking the numbers. She got my email address. She was sending stuff to my email. And one of the things she sent to my email was that he had potentially gotten our neighbor pregnant. He was also cheating on me with our neighbor.
What's that? I'm a gigolo.
Okay. My guy was busy. Busy. And yeah, so that's when I found out. We were broken up when I found out about it. And when him and I finally talked, because I tried to like hear him out and all this other stuff, he did admit to that. He admitted to cheating with the girl, of course, but then he also admitted to cheating with the neighbor and that she was pregnant. And he did not know if it was his baby or not. Here's the kicker, and it is going to be the last part of the story because this story is nuts.
I just got a question. Like, go ahead.
So he told me that a couple of the times that they slept together, him and the neighbor, it was in our apartment. And we lived in a walk-up building. Right, no elevators or anything. We lived on the lower floor. She lived on the floor above us. It was one time him and I were leaving out of the house to go do something. And we had like run into her. She had a boyfriend. Her boyfriend lived together. So they were cheating on us with each other. Dre, she comes out with their baby stroller and she's by herself. So she's like trying to figure out how she's going to get the stroller down the steps and all these things. So my boyfriend at the time is like looking and I'm like, babe, help her. Like, come on, we got to help her. Like, she's by herself. My nigga, you need to help her because this might be your baby in this damn stroller. This might be your kid. But that was, of course, months prior and I had no idea. So it was a wild ride. But yes, I did not find out about that until we were broken up because if I knew that while we were together, he'd have been got them hands.
I mean, he already got them, but first it's just so like
complicated and messy.
It's dangerous too, like to be messing with somebody who with somebody already in the same place. Like you don't know what people are liable to do if they find that out, and you put me in a situation where I can get possibly in some type of danger really, or some crazy situation based off of your infidelity.
Yeah.
But it just made me wonder, like, what do people think relationships are? Like, are some people just like, it's just the person that I'm spending the time with, but if a new opportunity comes, there's nothing that is stopping me from taking that opportunity to do whatever I want to do.
Perhaps.
Like, I don't, the way that people define the relationships is just so interesting to me.
It is. And I mean, he said that his reasoning for cheating, you know, he never took responsibility on himself. Like, he was doing it because he was greedy or because he wanted this. He said that I worked a lot, which is true. I did work a lot. And that, you know, we had just started to bump heads so much over the finances. Like, and we did, because we moved to a place where we agreed to live at based on our income. Yeah. I made more money than him, but not a ton, you know, but I made more money than him. We could have probably lived somewhere more expensive with higher expenses if it was based on my income. But we chose somewhere based on our income, and he consistently came up short with his half or with his contributions. And I would get frustrated because I would come home from working a long, hard day and he playing video games, or he's just hasn't done anything around the house. You know, maybe he worked that day, but he got home first. He didn't care to do this or do that. It was always kind of this struggle of like, dog, it just feels like, in addition to you not having your half of the money, which means I've got to cover it, you know, like now you're just cooling, you chilling out. And he had a side hustle too. All for me to find out he was using the side hustle as a way to cheat. He would say, oh, I'm going to go do this gig, but he wasn't actually at the gigs. He was in the sheets. He was not in the gigs. He was in the sheets. So, you know, it was a wild time. It was a wild time, child. That's what I'm saying. Life will learn you. Some of these relationships will really show you, like, I'm not playing that game anymore. And this is why I have very little tolerance for this type of dynamic, because I don't ever want to be in a position where I feel so hurt or so frustrated or so angry that I don't feel like I have control over myself. Like I said, I'm a better woman today. I've been to therapy. I know right from wrong. I knew it was wrong then to put my hands on somebody. But when your emotions get into a situation and you feel like hurt by it, like you can, I don't want to say black out, but for lack of a better term, you can black out on why someone would be having this life with you, but doing all of these other things behind your back, like having sex with multiple women and then potentially getting one pregnant. It wound up not being his baby. It wound up being, because he did take a DNA test, and it was her boyfriend's baby, you know? And so it wound up working out for them, because imagine if the boyfriend, right?
He would have been like, what?
Like, I've been here rubbing your feet and rubbing your stomach and putting cocoa butter on your belly, and it's a whole nother man's baby inside of there. Like you said, I don't know what people use to define relationships these days sometimes, but
I just don't, I don't understand. Like, for me, I just can't, I don't think I could push through situations like that, because I do not want to be in a relationship that I feel like can't operate at its full 100%. And it's like having a car, and like I got a car, but I can't drive it over 40 miles per hour because I don't know if I take it over that, if it'll stay together or keep operating, or it's like, what's the point of having a car then? Like, I'd rather just wait and get something to where I can fully you know, take part in it and everything that it offers. Like, I don't want to be in a relationship with somebody I feel like I can't trust. Like, that sucks, because then there's so many elements and so many adjustments and so many things we got to do to make sure that I feel comfortable and that you're doing what you need to do. And it's like, who wants to be in a relationship with all these stipulations and things that we have to put in place because I can't trust you, and then also because I resent you and how you treated me, and then how we got to behave with your baby around that's not my baby but it's your baby. It's like, I don't want to deal with that. I don't want to deal with all of that. I don't want to deal with that. So I rather, you know, be in a situation where, like, if this is what happens, I'm good, and then I'll figure out something else. I feel like, for me, if I was in this situation.
Yeah.
But I know people have done it.
People have done it. Speaking of people who have done it, you know, there are some big celebrities who are known, or this is a part of their relationship story.
Yes.
Gabrielle Union and Dwayne Wade, they experienced this many years ago during a break. Dwayne, you know, slept with someone and he had a baby. And many months later, like less than a year later, him and Gabrielle Union got apparently back together and then got married. And it's funny because I see a lot of times online, people are like, damn, I forget that he even had that baby, because you never see that child. I believe that child is like 10 now. But you never see that. And you do see the Wades as a family. You know, they do showcase their family a lot. His children from his first marriage to their daughter together. Gabrielle Union is known for having a really close relationship with her nephew. So he's often in like family photos and things like that. But you never, ever see this child. And I don't know if that's some sort of design of what happened. But it's interesting. It's interesting, but they got back together. Ludacris and his wife, Eudoxie, which I think that's how you say her name. Before they got married, same thing. He cheated, had a baby, and she took him back. And I know she did I think like Coca-Cola had did this round table discussion. It was like her, LaToya Luckett, and I can't think of who else. Oh, Carrie Hilson. God, I'm obsessed with Carrie Hilson's beauty. She's like one of the most attractive women to me in the world. But she talked about like why she took him back. And, you know, she said that she really believed that it was a mistake and that he didn't really mean to do it. And she believed that he was putting forth the efforts to show her that he would never do it again, that he felt an extreme amount of remorse for hurting her in that way. And ultimately she cannot blame the child because the child didn't ask for it. And today you see them completely as a full family. I think that child and then their daughter are like extremely close in age. Like, I don't know if it's like an Irish twin thing, but they are very, like when you look at the two little girls together, they look like they're the exact same age. That's how close in age they are. And then the most recent one that has been all over the blogs is Tim and Bria Anderson. And I talked about this on my Instagram page of he did an interview on The Pivot talking about the fact that he's stepping up and he's being a father, and he did cheat. And he had a baby outside of the relationship, but Bria decided to stay. So there are plenty of people who do it, you know, and more power to y'all.
More power to y'all. I actually know Bria. Not know her, but one of my best friends dated her in high school, and I've met her and hung out like back in college days. So very interesting to see how that is all unfolding. The truth is that people do make mistakes. And like I said, we mentioned it this episode, and probably a term that we should phrase, but a coin or a phrase that we should coin, but Russian roulette in it. Like, you never know if you're going to actually get that bullet. And if it was just a normal cheating situation, then they'll probably be like, oh, okay, whatever, take back. But when you add that added baby, that makes it difficult. And it's like what I talked about 2 episodes ago, is that you have this expectation of what your life will be like and what your relationship will be like with this person. So then when that gets altered, you have to unmarry yourself from those expectations. And I don't think that's even baby specific. That's anything specific. That if you had a certain expectation or a life that you thought you would have with a person, and now those expectations change for whatever reason, then you have to like adjust and figure out like how you're going to move on, or if you want to move on.
Yes.
It could come from having a baby on somebody, which is one thing. It could come from somebody who maybe got injured and something happened. Like, it's just, you had this expectation of what your life will look like. And it's very hard to adjust that, especially with somebody that you love. And especially if you feel like they did something that, not they chose to hurt you, but they made a choice, and that choice that they made hurt you. And they didn't have to make that choice. Some things are predictable or out of your control, and those things you try to manage and deal with. They're still hard to, you know, unmarry yourself from the expectations, but you manage those. But those, when somebody chooses to do something, it's like, come on, man. And it's like, even if you cheated, like, we could have got over that or figured it out, but like, you had a baby with somebody, like, come on, dude. Like, come on.
That goes back to my earlier point, and why I think when you think about forgiving someone and ultimately staying in a relationship with them after they had a baby, I think the amount of work that you have to do is so significant. It is staggering, the amount of work that you probably will have to do to really work through that. And a big part of that is because a child is something that you can't undo. They are a living organism, like you see them. So the kid, again, who is innocent, nothing to do with this, did not ask to be brought into this situation or into this world, but they then serve as a reminder of your transgression. They serve as a constant little reminder that you decided to go and cheat in a way that resulted in having a baby. And now I have to see this child and not see it as a reminder. I have to compartmentalize and detach what you did to what it produced. And I think that is the hardest part of women who find themselves in this situation, and men, because men find themselves in this situation too.
Who did it to a dude.
Yeah, it's like trying to detach yourself or detach those things, that this child is the child and what he did is, or what she did is that. Trying to figure out how to go through the process of healing, forgiveness, if that looks like therapy, if that looks like time apart. I'm sure it looks like a lot of things, but I feel like you need professionals if you find yourself in this situation. You need them.
I agree. And people have to understand too that a lot of us as humans, like, you have to take into account, although we shouldn't be swayed by public opinion, like, that's something that really weighs on our mind. And one of the worst, I don't know, is it an emotion or I guess feeling, is a feeling of embarrassment. That like sucks.
Yes.
Like, nobody wants to feel embarrassed or feel dumb or feel stupid or anything of that nature. And that's one of the factors that comes into situations like this. And it doesn't even have to be a celebrity thing. No. It's like it's trying to explain to your mom this guy that you spoke so highly about and why he's now having a child with somebody else that's not you, but y'all still together.
Yep.
Like, that just is a hard pill to swallow. And then this is a person that I'm with, so I'm gonna have to share this information with my friends, my family, my sister, my dad, like, and it's like it's embarrassing.
It's a lot.
And that's hard sometimes to get over that embarrassment. Some people don't move forward with a lot of things because of a lack of embarrassment. Some people could be struggling and they know if they took this bartending job that they could make more money and it would really help them, but they feel like it's embarrassing for them to do that because it feels like a step back. Or if they committed to something publicly and then figure out they don't want to do that, but they don't want to backtrack it because it may seem embarrassing for them to say, like, I failed at this or it didn't work out for me. Like, so that feeling of embarrassment is real. And that's something that will really factor into somebody's decision of wanting to move forward or not to move forward. So it's like, it's a lot of factors that you're dealing with when you make these decisions. So whenever you're out here Russian rouletting, or
you gotta consider all the things,
all the possibilities. That's why I said in my video of why I wouldn't cheat with my wife, like, it's just not worth it. Like, everything, like, all the possibilities. Like, what is the perfect scenario? Like, what am I getting out of that perfect scenario? Like, one good night,
right? That's
the best case scenario. One good night that I take to the grave.
Yep.
Is that worth blowing up everything?
Yep.
No, like,
it's not. It doesn't even compare.
It doesn't even compare. Like, to blowing up every single part of my life. It just doesn't make sense. Like,
it doesn't.
And I don't understand. Like, I mean, I know people have urges, and in those moments, like, when you are, you just not a great decision maker when you horny and like just like it's just not, nobody is. Like,
nope, nobody.
When you in
is.
that mindset, you liable to do some things that, you know, just don't make sense.
Yeah, that are basically reckless. They're very, very reckless. To Anonymous, you know, my final thoughts on this are, love is not enough. You said you want advice on what to do because you really love him. Love is not enough. You need so much more in a relationship than love. You need respect. You need compatibility. You need someone who shares in a lot of values with you. You need someone who understands the importance of not blowing up their entire life behind one good night. There are so many factors that you need in order to make a relationship like whole and for you to feel safe and comfortable in that relationship. Cheating already brings about an extreme amount of betrayal and all of these feelings of distrust, like from potentially getting diseases to just me not being able to trust you at your word when you leave the house. But then compounding that with a child that you now have to be financially responsible for, which will change how you can show up in this relationship financially. You have to be physically present for, which might be complicated because of this dynamic. Like, it might be times where you need to go there. And I'm like, how do I know that he not over there still sleeping with her? You know what I mean? Like, it's so many things. So I hope that he's not the father. Let me put it that way. I hope that for your sake, this is not his baby. But I feel like there are a lot of things in this relationship that are not okay. And this is just one facet of it, which is why you rejected the proposal, which is why you don't necessarily want to marry him, because you don't want to put yourself in a situation to get hurt. Newsflash, baby, you are already in a situation that is hurting you. So I think you need to really evaluate this whole situation and figure out, regardless of whether that's his baby or not, is this a happy and healthy relationship that you can actually stay in? And if it is, you all need to figure out what that work is to get your relationship into a better place than what it is in today, because it does not sound like it's in a good place today.
For sure. No, that's great advice. I don't really have much to add, but just to ask one question, because when I hear this thing about love, it's like, love, I love this person, I love this person. And it makes me wonder about this question. It's like, do you love them, or do you love you all together, or the idea of you together? And it's like, because if you love somebody, think about how a parent loves a child. Like, I've seen parents have to let their child go and experience life sometime and to learn on their own. In order to get the experience or whatever that they need in order to come back. Like, sometimes love is tough. Sometimes love is doing the best for that person.
Yes.
Do you love them? If you love them, sometimes you might got to let them go because that's the best thing for them.
Yep. 100%.
Do you love them, or do you love the idea of you guys together? Because if you love the idea of you guys together, then everything you're going to do is in an effort to make sure you guys stay together.
Bingo.
But if you love them, you got to understand that, oh, they may need some growth and they can't grow with me here. I am maybe being a crutch for them, or I'm enabling them. So I need to step away. So because I love them, I want the best for them. So I need them to be able to grow, and they need the space and room to grow and heal. So I'm going to do that because I love them. I will love them from afar. I'll care about them. I'll still check up on them. The father of my child, like, we'll still interact, but I love them and I want to see the best for them. So sometimes that may mean distancing myself. Loving somebody isn't always like I'm there all the time helping them through X, Y, and Z.
Nope.
Sometimes it's letting people go. I know people who love their kids and have let their kids go to jail because it's like this kid needs to learn. Like they did something, like they did something wrong. Like, they need to learn, or they need to go through their experiences. That's a famous story in the Bible about the prodigal son, like the prodigal son, not particle, prodigal son, to where the father had to let his child go and experience life. And then when the child came back, open arms, like, I love you, like, come in.
Yes.
Like, but sometimes love is not just staying with somebody through everything.
Yes.
Like, that's when I did my video about love is, not because of, it's in spite of. It's easy to love somebody because of, but real love shows up in spite of what's going on. But people's like, what about domestic abuse? What about that? Don't stay through domestic abuse. That's not what, like, love is. There's also discernment in love.
That's right.
You have to be discerning and know, like, what is the best scenario. This person I love and I want the best for them. What does that take in order for that to happen? There are some things that you can push through and that you'll have to go through in a relationship. If you really want it to work, you're going to have to love that person in spite of some things. But you have to understand that some things that they're going to go through, like it may be way above you.
That's
and
right.
You can't help them solve that. And they need space and time to heal. And if you love them, you got to let them go. What's some old movies you see with the animals? Go! Get out of here!
Get out of here!
I don't want you anymore. like,
run, Lassie! Go, Lassie, go!
It's like the movies where they let them go, not because they hated them, they wanted them.
Yes,
but they had to let them go for them to live their lives because that was better for them. That's the love that I'm talking about. Like, you have to learn how to do that. So unmarry yourself from the expectation of being in love with the idea of you and this man together, which you probably created in your head because you have a kid together and all these different things. And think about, if you love him, really look at what's going on and the things that he's going through and the problems that he is trying to work through. And maybe distance and separation is ultimately what you guys may need in order for it to inevitably, if it does happen, come together to be in a happy, healthy relationship.
Yes. Bingo. Nail in the coffin. That's it. That's it. We deeply appreciate you for writing in, and just sorry that you're dealing with this. I feel like this is like one of the weightiest, heaviest experiences in a relationship sometimes. But sending you all kinds of healing energy, and please, I beg of you, please give us an update.
Yes, please let us
like
know.
An update on this one. But if you have a scenario and you want to write into us, please do relationshiprestore.com. Click the contact. You can write into the show. Follow us on social media. I'm at Ronnie Cakes.
It's Dre Smith.
And at Relationship Restored. See you next week.
Peace.